Today on Brilliance Business TV, we have Tamelynda Lux. Tamelynda is a world-renowned editor and publishing coach, celebrated author and founder of Unlock Author Genius. Stay tuned. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have a wonderful guest on the show today, Tamelynda Lux, and writing is so important, and I'm really passionate about anything to do with writing, publishing, so I'm really looking forward to a conversation with Tamelynda. I just want to make an official shout out to our show sponsors, Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're also on the E360 TV network under Fresh Takes, going out to Apple TV, Fire TV, Android, Roku, and many more. We're also on mspnewsglobal.com, and we're also on Business Innovators Radio Network. After all of that mouthful, let's bring in our incredible guest, Tamelynda. Hi, Tamelynda. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV.
Hi, Mark. Wow, what a reach you have. And I know that your audience is growing. I've been listening in for a while as well. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today. So let's dive straight in, Tamelynda. How did you get into editing and then into coaching authors?
Well, when I thought about that question, it started over 30 years ago, probably closer to 43 years ago, when I was working in the big city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as a legal secretary. And I really understood and appreciated the importance of word choice, phrases, and sentence structure, and the flow of how things, went along within whatever document we were working on. My actual first author client, someone that I edited for, was about 31 years ago. And I worked with someone who I'd been on TV, a TV interview with, and he wrote the book, Employees Not Doing What You Expect. So that's when I really started formally editing for authors. And I kept editing as a side gig, something that I was really interested in, but I was actually full-time in private practice. I had a word processing center near a university. Okay, so word processing center. I mean, this was way before we had personal computers and laptops and all our devices. And I had a team of 4 who were typing essays for university students. But I always kept editing as a side gig. And I was also at the time helping students work on their resumes and their interview skills. So I learned about marketing and brand marketing and how to put that on paper, how to put that in words. And that always excited me to work on projects like that. Fast forward to COVID 2020, and this is when I really ramped up my passion for editing. And then that quickly evolved into coaching self-publishing authors, especially into how to publish, and then how, once published, how to market and how to host their own book launches on time. So editing and publishing coaching became more full-time for me as I began coaching author clients through the editing and publishing and marketing journey. Now,
You
what
have.
I forgot to say was that all that time I didn't run a word processing center because in 1991, I think that's when laptops and personal computers really hit the market. And so already then I transitioned into career coaching and business transition.
You've been on an interesting journey, Tamelynda, and what stood out to me there is the power of words, the written word and also the spoken word. Words are very, very powerful. I really agree with you on that. Now, you've published numerous books. Which of them was the most challenging in terms of getting past your own stuckness?
Oh my goodness, great question. That would be my very first book. And for any authors who are listening and you're struggling, you have this book inside of you, you will know what I'm talking about. So it was my first published book, and I actually have a copy of it here. It is Wrongful Dismissal from Wounded to Thriving, published in 2015. This is the original book cover. I did it by myself. Didn't know anything about Amazon and self publishing until 2020 when
Very
then I knew
nice.
more and I redid the cover.
Never
But
judge a
I
book by its cover.
right? It's the same content, but doesn't that look much nicer,
It
right?
certainly does.
So I had fears, about writing this first book. Did I know enough for it to be worthy of a book? And what if people didn't like what I wrote? Or I had this big, huge fear. This was for over 10 years, this fear of telling my story, because all through this book, even though it's a thin book and it talks about how to survive and thrive past wrongful dismissal, my story runs through it. So I was really fearful of telling my story. There were other fears, but it took me 10 years before I fully identified and faced my fears and my limiting beliefs. But I got through it. I found the support of an amazing coach and I pushed through and I published, well, the first version of the book for my 50th birthday in 2015. And with that, I hosted a book launch party at home. And when the box of books arrived and I opened it, oh my gosh, this was the best birthday present to, to me from me. It was incredible. And that's when I caught the bug to write more, but not just write it, to actually publish it. And since then, I've published 5 more books of my own. And I've gone on to help multiple authors around the globe.
Sharing story is so, so important. I really, really agree with you on that. I'm a big advocate of sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly, all the vulnerabilities, so that people can connect with you. It really does build trust and a connection when you share the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all the vulnerabilities as well. And also, you talked about fear and limiting beliefs. Fear is one of the biggest things that holds people back. So overcoming those limiting beliefs is how we move forward. So I really, really resonate with you on that, Tamelynda. What's the big deal about knowing what's important to you as an author when it comes to writing your book?
Okay, the big deal is, cut to the chase here without anything around it, is you will likely have more depth and heart in your content. So, in addition to having a hook or the thesis of your book and delivering on the promise you're making to your reader. So, what's the promise? The benefit or the solution they want as they're reading your book. They're buying your book for a reason. When you know what's important to you as an author, you will likely have more depth. You'll write at a deeper level, and you'll write from your heart. And when you know your why about writing your book, you're setting yourself up for actually completing your book.
Again, that's great, great wisdom there, sharing the why part of things, because with anything you have to know the why, don't you, Tamelynda?
I I I really do think that you need to know your why. What's important to you about writing the book? Why are you putting in all this time and energy and money. And I have authors who will say to me, well, I have this experience, I have this wisdom, I want to just share the book with the world. I want to share what I've learned with the world. Other authors will say, I want to make a lot of money with my book. And other authors will say, I want to use my book to replace the old-fashioned business card. The business card is old, right? The new business card, the current business card, well, are things like podcasts and being in social media, but also having a book. A book
I
establishes your
agree.
credibility.
And
Mm-hmm.
it builds your authority. You become an authority in your field. And I've always used books as a business card. They're a great way to open doors to opportunities.
Yes.
Why is A, discipline important to put in place when writing a book? And B, what standard boundary do you advise authors to add to that discipline?
So the discipline important to put in place is to schedule your writing. It's so easy to say, I want to write a book, and then not, unless you schedule the writing in your calendar. Whether I looked over there because my paper calendar's over there. I'm still somewhat old fashioned in that way. I have a paper calendar. I also have on my wall behind my monitor here, I have a 1-page printout of the week, just a generic Sunday through Saturday week, and all the times blocked off in 1-hour segments. And I block in where it is I'm going to do my researching, where I'm going to do my writing, and where I'm going to work with other people as it relates to writing a book. So the formatters, the book cover designer, my public relations and media coach, all of those are blocked off. And then the second part of your question, about the standard or boundary that I advise authors to add to the discipline, is to protect your writing time. So to know that if you have set, one of my authors gets up at 5 a.m. in the morning, walks the dogs, and then sits down and writes I think from 7 till 9 or 9:30 before the day starts, then commit to that standard.
I love it. So I wouldn't fancy getting up at 5 a.m. though,
Me
Tamelynda,
neither.
but everything else I agree with. What can authors do when they find themselves lacking energy when writing
Well,
or for writing?
yeah, lacking energy for writing. So you need to harness your mental energy. And I have 6 starter tips to revitalize mental energy. We have enough time for this?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
How
So
many?
I have 6 basic ones. I mean, I'm sure you can come up with more, but I have 6. And they're on my YouTube channel, Unlock Author Genius on
I would
YouTube.
give your 3 best ones and direct everyone to your YouTube to get the rest.
Okay, fantastic. So the first one would be recharge your batteries. So, like a plant needs fertilizer and a
Yes.
vehicle needs gas, we need food and liquid. We need something to drink. So, when I set up my writing time and I know I'm going to be sitting here for a couple hours, I will set up a tray or a basket, depends how long I'm sitting here, with food that I can munch on, something that I can sip on during my writing exercise so that I have it right here. Because I know that when I get into writing, all time can go. I get into this hypnotic state that I'm so focused on what I'm concentrating on, I forget all time.
Yes.
But having this just off to the side, I can notice every now and then that, oh, there's sustenance here, and I don't have to get up and go get it. But also to schedule in what I call a kitchen break. So during a kitchen break, I will go all the way to the kitchen, take my tray or my basket, I'll stock it up. But I have the food prepared in the fridge at the beginning of the week. So Sunday I do my prep for the pre-made sandwiches. Sometimes I'll cheat and I'll buy them. Excuse me. But I will add them to my tray and come back and then continue writing. So that's one of the tips that I do find personally really helps me.
Great tip. And just share your YouTube channel. How can people go to your YouTube to get more tips, Tamelynda?
Very easy to find. It's at Unlock Author Genius.
Love it.
Thank you.
How can someone stop doubting themselves as a writer?
To do this, what one really will benefit from doing is uncovering what that true fear is underneath, and then dealing with that fear and how you respond to the triggers. We can't always let go. We can't always stop the triggers from coming, but we can change our response to the triggers. And this is where the other part of my career, which I went from career coaching and life coaching. And then in 2017, I evolved my practice into including hypnosis. So I do a combination of hypnosis and coaching with clients. You know, your mind knows how the doubt started, your mind knows how the block started, and your mind knows how to solve it. So you can assess the hidden source of doubt or imposter syndrome, and I can help you learn a reframe process. And then one of the wonderful techniques I use with clients that is very profound, and I remember the first time I did it, which was almost 20 years ago, was having a positive future self journey through hypnosis. Those are the ways.
I'm nodding my head because I use self-hypnosis every single day. I've been hypnotized a couple of times as well to get rid of mental blocks. And I'm in this hypnosis gallery with a big library of all different hypnoses. So I use hypnosis about 3 times a day to program my mind with the kind of belief systems that I want. So I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying. What one final tip to help authors see their book as a reality?
Get a cover created right in the beginning, before you even begin writing or at the very, very early stages of writing. And you can go on Fiverr, you can go I prefer Fiverr. You can go on Fiverr and get an ebook cover done. You can get them created for as little as $10, $15 US. I mean, you can get them created for much more, but even a $10 or $15 ebook cover, and then pin it up on the wall where you're writing, or put it at the front of your binder
Good
if you're
idea.
handwriting. So it actually helps bring the book to reality because you're looking at this cover. The other tip is find a coach to help you along those moments, because you will likely have those moments where you're going to have self-doubt or imposter syndrome or any of a number of fears, and that coach can help you get through that time. So really connect with me at succeed at unlockauthorgenius.com.
We'll get into that now, Tamelynda. I was going to say I love that idea of putting the book cover there because I am also a big advocate of living in the end. You always start at the end and you live from that place of the end. That is genius. Now, people can connect with you, Tamelynda. Tell us who should connect with you, and just share a little bit of why they should connect with you and how you can support them.
So who should connect with me? Anybody who's thinking about writing a book, um, anybody who's in the midst of writing a book, or even if you've already published, going through the publishing journey, or already published, any place along the author journey where you're stuck. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am not a writing coach. I'm a editor coach. I can do developmental editing. I do copy line editing. I can manage all the support around. I do publishing coaching, right? I can do marketing coaching. So anywhere along that author journey, even if you haven't started or even if you've already published, those are the people that can connect with me. I focus on nonfiction. I do a lot of work with therapists and medical and science counselors and hypnotherapists. And I also will work with memoir. Memoir has a special place in my heart too.
Excellent. I would encourage everyone to connect with Tamelynda at unlockauthorgenius.com. That's unlockauthorgenius.com. One more, unlockauthorgenius.com. Tamelynda, I am so thrilled to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for being my guest.
My pleasure. And again, Mark, thank you so much for inviting me.
The pleasure's all mine, and thank you once again. Thank you everyone for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Until next time, bye for now.